Hey everyone, welcome to the Be Bold, Make Waves podcast, a show bringing you inspiring stories of women who are growing and scaling their business. I'm your host, Laura Comark, a website and tech integration specialist who works with online business owners who love their work and not their website. Join me as we have incredible conversations about business, mindset, productivity, and of course, the website and tech behind the business. Let's go ahead and dive in to this week's episode. Hello and welcome to this week's show. For those of you who don't already know me, I'm Laura Comark, Evergreen Email Marketing Strategy, Systems, and Setup for consultants and service providers who love their work but not their tech. So this week is another income report. And for those of you who might be new around here or just tuning in for the first time to one of my income reports, this year in 2024, I was challenged by one of my business coaches to do a monthly income report. So the purpose here is to really just take the time to reflect back after the month has ended on what worked, what didn't work, what I'm proud of, and what lessons I learned. So in this episode, I'm going to cover my wins for April, how my goals went, how much my business earned, my goals for next month. So let's go ahead and dive in to this week's episode. So we're going to start off with my wins for April. Now, I just want to start off with painting a little picture of how the month started for me. My kids had 2 weeks for spring break, which started right on March 31st. So basically, the first 2 weeks in April, I was off. I had blocked off the dates on my calendar. We actually took off to go up to Monterey Bay Aquarium to take the kids. And then from there, my husband had a job in South Lake Tahoe. And so we all drove up there from Monterey and hung out in the last little bit of snow, which is really fun for the kids to play in the snow. We don't see a lot of snow where we live. I don't really like the cold, so I'm much more of a tropical weather person, but it is fun every so often to go spend some time in that white, fluffy, cold stuff. So that was the start of my month, was the first half of the month. I was out of office, which isn't always the best when I'm needing to do outreach or schedule calls, have discovery calls, have calls with current clients, past clients, all the things. But that is just part of the flexibility that I have in running my own business and being able to take that time off. And I don't know what we would do if I was working a corporate job and needing to take that much time off because my kids are off for spring break. It's just crazy. It's crazy to me that they have 2 whole weeks off. That just seems like a lot. But anywho, so as soon as I got back, I was really ready to just dive in and get things going. So now that you know a little bit of the backstory on kind of what was happening at the start of April, I am going to jump just right into my business wins. So one of those wins was that I had a huge connection win, and that was the 3rd week in April, 4th week, I guess. From the 20th to the 24th of April, I took off for Las Vegas to go hang out with Renee Rebar. She's been on the podcast. I will put her episode down in the show notes. She's a sales coach for online business owners, women who she's just amazing. Like, I love Renee so much. She's so fantastic. She's a sales coach that I've worked with, and she's incredible. Every year she does a live event called Experts Connect. Last year was my first year going, and it was so above and beyond what I could have imagined. She just creates such a welcoming and warm environment. And the sole purpose is for everyone to connect. So she makes it as easy for people to make new connections and, really get out of your maybe shell that you might have of like being in a room with other people and just make some new friends. And that's exactly what I did. And that was exactly my intention in going there. So I went a day early, and my roommate, Kristen Doyle, who has also been on the podcast, she showed up early. And so did my good friend, Caitlin Harrison of Caitlin Harrison Creative. I'll link her up in the show notes as well. And we all showed up a day early just to kind of get a feel for things, get situated. And so then the next day, we actually rented a car and went and explored the desert a little bit, went to Red Rock. Super fun. Love going on adventures. And I had actually never been to Las Vegas. So that was a lot of fun. But for the actual event, I got to meet so many amazing new people that I had not yet connected with. I got to see some old friends that I had I met the previous year, a lot of people who've been on the podcast. And a lot of the reason they were on the podcast is because I met them last year at Experts Connect. So Jill Statz, Kyoko Nakano, Patty Zor, Aurora Gregory, Tracy Phillips, and then a number of my other friends like Amanda Kuklins showed up. It was so much fun. And again, I met so many new people this year as well that are going to come be on the podcast. So super exciting, super fun, lots of new, amazing connections. Um, Highly recommend if you have an opportunity to go to an in-person event like that. It's just so amazing to meet all these people that we see online in real life and spend time and connect just at a deeper level. Go to dinner with them and just spend a few days together getting to know each other. Super fun. So that was a huge win, is going and doing that and getting to spend time with my online friends in real life. I had 2 calls with past clients or current clients with clients that needed some more stuff. I was able from there to book 1 VIP day and 1 new website project, which is a website and sales funnel project. And so that came through, which was great for the month. I continue to have my Friday accountability calls. So, as for my personal wins, because I was able to travel a little bit with spring break and then Experts Connect, a lot of plane time there. Well, not that much, but some plane time. And so I was able to read 2 books this month, which was something super enjoy. I'm just such a big fan of reading, not business books. I'm much more of a thriller or beach ready book. I just love when I get some time to sit and read. That really fills my cup. Another personal win was just taking that time to go kind of explore around Las Vegas, renting the car and going out there. That felt like a really fun way to connect with my friends and go do something and kind of explore a new area that I hadn't been to before. When we were actually off for spring break, we went skiing, which I skied as a child, not a whole lot. We would go like once a year. And then in my early 20s, before I moved to the Caribbean, I started going a little bit more to Tahoe. But since then, I've only been on the slope once, which was just a couple years ago when we were at Mammoth. So that was fun. My husband and I hit the slopes one day. It was a Sunday. The snow wasn't actually that bad considering it was so late in the season. It was a really nice day out there. We put the kids in ski lessons for 2 days. One day, my little one did snowboarding and decided she wanted to go back to skiing the next day. I also was able in the month of April to do 2 dog agility classes with my big red dog, Benny. And that's always fun for us, working on building up his confidence and just something fun that we can do to bond together. Okay, so let's dive into my goals for April and how that went. So, one of my goals was to create a blog post on the DMARC setup and how to read the report. Well, womp, womp, womp. That did not happen. I did not have a lot of time to get things done between the 2 weeks off for spring break and then being home for 1 week and then leaving for Experts Connect. It was just a little crazy. My daughter came home sick with an earache one of those days, and it was a lot. There was a lot going on. So was not able to create that, but I will say I was able to create a loom and I shared it with a client that had some questions about it. So I do have that, and I tried to record it in a way where I could repurpose and reuse it. So we'll see if I get to that next month. My next goal for April was to book 2 VIP days, and I got 1 booked. So yay. That's always exciting. Always something on my goal list each month is to book some VIP days. And if you're not familiar, a VIP day is where I get booked for the full day and I dedicate that entire day to my client. And we have a workbook that we go through ahead of time where my client will then go through and prioritize the list of items that they want to get done in the VIP day. And then I turn off all email notifications, all the things. So my full focus is on my client and her project. And then we sit down and knock out a crazy amount of work. They're super fun. They're very energy consuming, but I do really, really enjoy them. There is a lot of prep work that goes into it. And then there's additional follow-up after the fact and additional 30 days of support and all that fun stuff. But love booking those and getting those on the calendar. And so I was excited to book one with a client that I've had for a long time, but it was actually our first VIP day together because in the past we've always worked in a different format. When I did her website build many, many years ago, it was before I was offering VIP days. So definitely was a new way of us working together. So we got that, the deposit for that came through and we got that booked out for the following month because it is something that you got to book it in advance just between my schedule and just allowing enough time for the prep work and a kickoff call prior to the day of. So another goal I had was to send 2 outreach emails. Now, let me just say, I came back from spring break and immediately was like, okay, I got to get a game plan together and start figuring out like doing some outreach, this thing that I put off. And I reached out to my coach, my business coach, and we were kind of boxering back and forth, putting together a plan. And then the next thing I know, we had kind of a game plan together and I was walking the dog that night. It was Monday night when I got back, thinking about how it was all going to go and kind of putting a game plan together in my head based on what she had said. And the next morning, I get a Vox from her that's like, hold everything. I have an idea. She says, don't send out any outreach emails yet. I want to tell you about this idea. However, I need you to come into this with an open mind. And if you're not willing to do that, I'm not going to tell you, which she knows me so well. She knows that is like, I have to know. I don't like surprises. My husband so great knows this about me. He'll just tell me things so that it's never a surprise because I'm just not one of those surprise people. I like to know what's going on. So when something like that comes through, I'm like, well, of course I want to know. So she came at me and said, one of the reasons you're just not getting enough bookings and a lot of bookings. I get a lot of, I mean, my clients are mostly repeat clients. When I have a client, they stay with me for typically a really long time because I love supporting my clients for the long term, not like one and done. But I have the last few years really struggled to get new clients coming in. And she said, you do too many things. You can do a lot. You can do websites, you can do tech, you can do all this other stuff. And it's too hard for people to refer you because no one is clear on what it is that you do. So they don't know how to refer you. So she said, I'm paraphrasing here, of course. My challenge to you is for the next 90 days, I want you to fully take the reins and double down on just niching to evergreen emails with ease VIP day. Which this is something I've done trainings on it. I've set it up for clients for years. I've done this for clients. This is nothing new. Something I'm super passionate about. And I said to her, wait a minute, but Nicole just wrote me new copy, which has also, as a side note, been was one of my goals to like update the copy on my website, which I did actually start doing. I just put too far down on this list. It should have been before we started talking about this, but that's okay. Doing it messy. On the drive back from Tahoe, I mean, it's a good, I feel like it took us 12 hours. I don't even know. It takes so long with the kids in the car. It should be an 8-hour drive with no stops or anything like that. But, we have to stop and eat and all that. But on one of the long highways, I hot spotted after I'd been driving for a few hours and my husband and I switched. I got the computer out. I started actually updating the copy on my website, which was great because it'd been on my to-do list since I got the copy in January. And now, we're in April and I'm just sitting there collecting digital dust on my Google Drive. So finally started updating that everywhere just to turn around and like 2 days later, have my coach be like, just take down the website. I was like, I cannot do that. I have the podcast on there. I have other things. Like, I cannot take down my website. So she told me, she's like, reach out to Jackie Money, who Jackie's also been on the website. Love her. She recently did a similar niche down to really helping out coaches and those with membership programs to really organize the back end of a group program membership mastermind so that people aren't feeling so overwhelmed that their back end of their program is just like a hot mess and trying to figure it all out when they have a lot going on. So she recently did that. And my coach was just like, reach out to Jackie. She'll walk you through all this of what you need to do. So I did that. I reached out to Jackie. We talked about kind of a game plan moving forward. So then since that, I started working on really putting together a Google Doc of this offer. It's going to be a beta offer for the first 3 people who sign up for it so that I can, at a discounted price, so that I can really get a better idea of what my prep work that I need to pull together is. This is something that's going to be offered for Active Campaign, Member Vault, and ConvertKit users. And really what it is Evergreen Emails with Ease VIP Day. So the idea here is for anyone who is just ready to be able to not physically show up all the time for their business. They're ready to have a system in place so that they know once people sign up for their list, they work, you just work on the front end, filling that front end of the funnel, getting people on your email list, going and speaking at summits, getting on podcasts, being visible, and then knowing as soon as people get on your email list, you have a system set up that's going to welcome them, nurture them, provide value to them, and then ultimately also automate some of your sales and marketing. And it's amazing. I love setting this up for clients. I love them getting results from it. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you've heard me talk about this. It's such an amazing way to have when you can have a strategic and automated nurture sequence that's designed to support the people on your list so that you continue to show up and they get used to seeing you in their inbox. We all need ways to do less on the back end of our business. And that's the whole idea here is setting up a system so that you know that you have the emails taken care of and you're not wondering every week like, "Oh, what am I going to write this week for my newsletter?" that so many business owners deal with. Instead, you just have months worth of content all ready to go. And it's good content and it's evergreen content. So it's been super fun setting that up. It, again, is something I'm super passionate about, and that's what we're doing now. So you may have noticed my tagline at the beginning of my introduction that I talk about every time I introduce myself. It's been changing a lot the past few months, and it was just me trying to sort of figure out what is it that I do? How do I help people? Because I do a lot of things. And so for now, it is Evergreen email marketing strategy, systems, and setup for consultants and service providers who love their work but not their tech. That's what we're doing around here. So if that's you, let me know. Okay, let's keep moving forward. Another goal I always have is to continue with this podcast. I love creating this podcast so much. And I had an interview actually with the same client who we booked the VIP day together. We've been working together for, gosh, I think almost 5 years now. I think 6 years. And she's a dog trainer, and I just love dogs, love talking dog training. It's super fun episode that came out later in the month. And then I had 4 episodes that were released this month, which is right around what I would like it to be at, one a week. We had my February income report came out right at the beginning of April. So, trying. I had Clearing Canva Chaos with Brenda Cadman, Creating Freedom and Flexibility in Your Freelance Business with Robin Rosti, and Pillars of Pack Leadership with Allison Rogers of Allie's Puppy Bootcamp. So all great episodes are linked up in the show notes. Make sure to check those out. Okay, now let's get into the juicy bits of how much my business made in April of 2024. So my total revenue was $5,472.09. Of that, $148.26 was affiliate income, and then $5,323.83 was services. So services would be like the VIP day deposit, the deposit for the project, the website and funnel project I booked with a client, And then my WordPress protection plan. So that's monthly maintenance where I go in to clients. I have clients that I service their websites every week and make sure that all their plugins are up to date, core files, all that sort of thing. Some clients have my premium package where they get an additional 30 minutes of support throughout the month for any little things that come up if they need an image changed out or that sort of thing. And it does make it so I'm available to clients when they have questions. So during the time that I was on spring break, I did actually have a client who her website was just on a theme. I didn't build her website, but it was on an outdated theme and it was having some issues with being outdated and it was no longer supported. And so it kept crashing. And so kind of walked her through what next steps for that. So that's the sort of thing I do with those. And then the total investments in my website, in my business website, total investments for April of 2024 was $2,638.80. This is money I invested back into my business. This is PayPal, Stripe, and QuickBook fees. I had conferences and retreats, was an expense that doesn't normally show up. And that was for the June mastermind retreat that I'm going to with my mastermind group. And then I also bought a ticket to the 2025 Experts Connect at Sea, which is going to be on a cruise ship, which will be fun. I've actually never been on a cruise ship before. I'm usually more of a small boat person. So that'll be my first large boat with lots of people out in the middle of the ocean. Um, Also software and subscriptions I use to run my business. I did also sign up for Boss Mom Plus. If you're not familiar with Boss Mom, Dana Malstaff is one of the first online business owners that I started listening to her podcast when I first started my business all those years ago. And she's here in California. She's down in San Diego. And I've just admired Dana for so many years. She had back then created a Facebook group that grew over the years to she just shut it down. I think May 1st it shut down. Might have been April 1st. Um, it must have been May 1st. And it was 75,000 people in her Boss Mom community. And she shut that down and made a paid community. It's very low cost. It's right now, I think, $67 a year. And she's creating a community that is paid so you get a different level of person who's willing to pay to be in the room. And again, it's not a super high amount for the year, but I did, as soon as I saw that was coming out, I said, oh yeah, I'm going to sign up for that because I'm such a huge fan of Dana's. I'm in her higher level program. I've spent time with her when I've gone down to San Diego. I've done 1-day intensives with her over the years. I've spent a bit of time with Dana over the years, and she's just brilliant, a fantastic coach. And I'm looking forward to spending a little more time in her new community and finding some wonderful new connections in there. There's a number of people who've been on the podcast, like Dorothy Villeneuve. She and I connected through the Boss Mom community. So that was a new expense that doesn't normally show up as a line item, but that'll be an annual fee. I also had much higher travel costs this month because I was in Las Vegas for the Experts Connect event. There was a hotel cost, restaurant cost, car rental, Uber fees. And man, again, I'd never been to Las Vegas. And I was not, even though they tried to prepare me, my friends who had been about the cost of food, but man, $18 for a slice of pizza. I we had some good meals, we had some mediocre meals, and we had some so-so meals. But we at least ate well. But so definitely a lot higher investments this month than any other month so far this year. So hopefully next month that'll get back down a little bit. So my total income at the end of the month was $2,833.29. Okay, so my goals for next month. So for May, I'm still going to try to create that blog post on the DMARC setup and how to read the report. I had all those email compliance that I set up for clients and would really like to have a resource on my website to direct them to when they are looking at that report that they get once a week. Again, my goal is to book 2 VIP days, same goal as every month. Hopefully with this new offer, I'll be able to start getting more dialed in on my messaging and all that stuff and be able to bring that up to 4 VIP days, which is truly my goal. But right now we're just, making it a little less overwhelming. I have the goal to continue to produce the podcast. I'm going to send 2 outreach emails, and I would like to add 2 more emails to my nurture sequence. So I will admit it's been a little hot minute since I've emailed my list, and I'm guessing they're going to be getting one next month, talking about this new offer I have coming out. And so that's my other big goal on my plate, is to figure out this beta offer, the messaging around it, getting some beta clients in so I can really find a way to make sure I have all the right prep work in place and streamline my process so that I can help more people put in place an evergreen email marketing system, and they can just be able to nurture their list and make sales when they're not at their computer, and all those wonderful things that we look forward to. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in this week. This concludes my April 2024 income report. I would love to know if you had any fun takeaways, if there was anything you have questions on or anything like that. Feel free to just reach out, send me a DM on Instagram. I love hearing from my audience and also love getting feedback on this podcast. Or on these income reports, especially. I've gotten a lot of really great feedback that people really love seeing behind the scenes. So I'm glad it is helpful for all of you. Have a great day. I'll see you next week. Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode. Be sure to check out the show notes at lauracomark.com/podcast. And if you're ready to turn your website into a marketing machine, get more sales, save time, and simplify the back end of your business, grab my free resource, Power Integrations for your website. Head on over to lauracomark.com/power. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe. And also, I'll just love you forever if you leave me a review. It helps get this podcast in front of other people that can help inspire. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you next week. Bye now.